After fixing a small engine problem, I brought the Redwing MXSR back out to do a better maiden flight. We weren't able to tell too much about it on the first time out, but we sure learned a lot this time. One being that the DLE-40 twins got plenty of power. We had a good bit of wind this day, but the MXSR handled that very well. Where the wind will elongate the spins with a lot of planes, the MXSR seemed to keep them pretty tight. I'm not very good at rolling Harriers, but the MXSR helped me put together a couple of strings of them that look kind of decent, for me anyway. The control surfaces don't look 3D size on this plane, but they act like it in the air. The wind was pretty gusty right to left in these camera shots, but the MXSR would fly knife edge with a lot of stability up and downwind. The only time I noticed any roll coupling in knife edge flight was when I got way too far into the rudder. Every once in a while the wind died down quite a bit, so I thought I'd hang the MXSR on the prop a little and see how that went. The wind did slide it around a little bit, but I was able to hold it fairly steady anyway. And I was doing this with about 30% of the throttle. I expected the most grief when I landed the MXSR in the gusty winds, but it's not bad at all once it gets down to the ground. Landing from the radar field means passing through an area that's notorious for rolling, bumpy winds, and coming uphill the first half of the runway. But don't get silly with the sticks, and the MXSR handles it just fine. The MXSR is nice and steady when flying inverted at even partial throttle, and doesn't use a whole lot of elevator. The tail on the MXSR is a little shorter than a lot of planes, but that lets it flip really well. And it recovers quickly, so you can just kind of shoot it up and cross the sticks up and see what happens and figure out which way it flips the best for you. If you forget where you are, you just let go of the sticks and the MXSR stops and straightens right out. Anytime I can get sort of a rolling Harrier that goes on this long, you know the plane has got to be helping me a bunch. The MXSR has a nice elevator response even at slower speeds, and that makes this easier to do. Something I really like about the MXSR is its response to rudder. That let me come directly into the diagonal crosswind, give it a little bit of rudder, and turn it down the runway. The RedwingRC 30cc MXSR is a nice plane for the mid-size gas engines. It's got a lot of good handling qualities and can be dialed down to be used as a trainer if need be. Even the ground handling is spot on. This plane actually goes where you tell it to.